7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, we got a motion by Councilmember Henry
I'll second.
and a second by Councilmember Sayre. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, community comment. Did you decide you want to say anything as community comment? Okay, no pressure. All right. For those of you at home, we were joined by a couple of folks tonight, including Councilmember-elect Eric Pershman, so that's who I was speaking to. Okay, presentations and reports, none. Public hearings, the certification of delinquent utilities, Ms. Schutte. Let's see. And I will open the public hearing. Oh,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
a motion by Councilmember Mock
Second.
and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The public hearing is open.
All right, thank you, Mayor. City staff has been working diligently to collect unpaid utility bills and other city services. They started the process way back in September, alerting residents with different mailings. We followed up with multiple mailings since then, most recently letting them know about tonight's public hearing. And currently there are 16 outstanding utility bills and 1 city service that has been unpaid. City code states that the City Council has the authority to certify any unpaid bills at the end of the year to homeowners' property taxes for the following year. We can do this by adding a fee if we wish. Our fee is $45, as well as an interest rate if we prefer. Ours is 5%. So that's what we are proposing to do tonight with the resolution on the table. The list is in your hands for what has been unpaid. We did allow payments up to 4:30 today, and they will be certified to the county if you do approve the resolution.
Can you talk about how homeowners were notified beyond just the delinquent bill?
We write letters. Brenda Efta is our utility billing clerk, and so there's different kinds of letters. The first one's just kind of a warning, like you have 6 months of unpaid or however many months of unpaid bills it is. The next one, maybe comes in October and says that you will be certified at the end of the year. So there's approximately 3 mailings that go out to homeowners, letting them know that their bill will be certified by the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Lynn, do you know, some of these are some pretty big numbers. Do you know the terms, the length that folks haven't, like the longest?
Some people haven't paid all year.
Okay.
And we would have done a certification a year ago, so these would be just
Correct.
the delinquents from this year.
That's correct.
Okay. Can you speak to how the city is compensated from the county? How do we get paid?
Sure, through the property tax collection in
Okay,
July.
Okay,
Yep.
so those twice a year,
Yep.
then we'll see that come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, let's see. Are there any public comments? All right. I'm going to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Real quick. Let's see. After all public comments are received, if any, the public hearing will be closed. No further comments on this issue will be received at this meeting. So it looks like we don't have any public comments. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Councilmember Mock
Oh, second.
and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we talked about what our administrative charge is, and then the 5%. Is the 5% something that we do every year, or does that fluctuate, or is it always 5%?
Historically, at the city of Carver, it's always been 5%.
Okay, that was my only other question.
All right.
I have no other questions.
Any other questions? Otherwise, motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 158-22 that accepts and certifies the assessment roll for delinquent utility bills and city service bills for costs provided in response to public nuisance abatements.
I'll second.
We've got a motion by Councilmember Mock and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A motion by Councilmember McKnight
Second.
and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, business items. 8.1, the Fire Department Retirement Program. Mr. Merrick.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So tonight, before you is a resolution that would enroll the city into the statewide volunteer firefighter retirement program that's managed by PARA, the Public Employees Retirement Association. So just going to kind of bring you up to speed by providing a presentation that was shared with the City Council at the November 7th work session. So in your packet, there's also the statewide volunteer presentation that was provided by PARA along with their own benefit analysis. So we'll be reviewing some of these pieces tonight as we go through. So right now we operate under a fire relief association, which operates as a separate entity from the city. They operate through a board of directors, have a set of bylaws. The mayor and the city manager, as well as the fire chief, are elected, or not elected, but appointed annually by the city council to sit as ex officio members on their board. The Relief Association is subject to the open meeting law, so their meetings are posted. But essentially their role is to provide a pension and disability and death benefits to members. And they also serve another function as far as fundraising goes. And just a little bit of history, you might wonder, well, why do relief associations exist? Kind of in the early days as cities were forming, oftentimes the community, a fire department was formed before they actually, before a city was incorporated. And so the need for relief associations and managing the needs and caring for firefighters kind of evolved before cities could kind of take that role on as a department of the city. Their finances, the Relief Association operates a pension fund via what's called a special fund. So that's a mechanism to distribute their retirement. So that's all managed kind of locally through appointed officers, the president, treasurer, and board members. They also operate a general fund. So that's commonly used to do merchandise purchasing or retirement holiday parties, etc. So they'll use the golf fundraiser or other fundraisers that they might have throughout the year. There is a number, and I would say an overwhelming amount of forms and reports that they need to create. They have to go through an annual audit, which is very expensive. So part of their fundraiser support is to help them perform that annual audit on an annual basis. Some pension fund details. It's managed by a third party. So think of Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, Ameriprise. And then so that's managed with support from the board and then having those conversations with that third party investment firm. The bulk of the revenue for retirement comes from fire department or fire state aid. The state of Minnesota provides annual aid to subsidize that pension cost. There have been times, whether it's the city of Carver or other cities, for their fire departments have provided additional support to fully fund that pension. In some cases, an extraordinary amount should there be a shortfall. And that aid is determined based on population, market value of the service area. I've provided what the city's received in the last prior years, and then we also do an assessment on an annual basis to determine if the city needs to make a local contribution in order to fully fund the pension program. Here you can see the vesting schedule, so the years of service as it equates to the ability to draw from that pension per year of service. And then kind of how we are situated within the market. As you see, we use what we call our peer cities. So these are cities with kind of the same geographic and kind of growth kind of characteristics as the city of Carver. So we use these for salaries, benefits, fees, and who we kind of compare ourselves to. Did an average. And so you can find that we're slightly below or maybe significantly below our peer cities as it relates to pension level benefits. The statewide volunteer firefighter program is something that kind of originated out of a request to have a conversation from the Carver Fire Relief Association. So this isn't something that the city pushed or city staff pushed. It started with a presentation from PARA to the board of the Carver Fire Relief Association. We had several listening sessions, or they facilitated listening sessions. And then ultimately we had this work session with the council on the 7th. There was also a meeting on the 14th was it the 14th? Yeah, where the Fire Relief Association passed a resolution similar to what's before the council tonight, requesting enrollment in the program. Some details, so the pension moves from being managed, I would say, from volunteers and a third-party group from PARA, and then they're essentially governed by the State Board of Investment, so they're managing the investment. So a lot more, I would say, institutional control of investments and how they're managed. It then would move from this pension group or the Carver Fire Relief to a city kind of operation through city staff, and ultimately the council making decisions on future contributions. Again, the city council would have to adopt a resolution to join, and that is somewhat dictated by time of year. So in order to enroll for 2023, the council would have to adopt a resolution tonight or by November 30th of this year. They did perform a benefits analysis, so we had them do it at different levels. Based on the kind of the health of the fund, we're recommending a increase to $4,000 per year of service. At the time they did this calculation, they were estimating that the city would have a total of a $495 contribution, but with our increase in fire relief aid, we're anticipating no additional contribution in order to get to them to that year, that $4,000 benefit level. Here you can see also some similar cities that have joined. There is a change to the program that really kind of opened up the floodgates for enrollment, and maybe Luke or Callie can speak to that if the council has questions, but it used to be somewhat difficult for firefighters to kind of embrace this program just based on the number of qualifications that PARA had that seemed to kind of limit the flexibility of firefighters within the program. Those have changed, and so now you're seeing several more cities, especially metropolitan cities, joining the firefighter or their SVF plan through PARA. So that's kind of a Cliff Notes version of the program. Again, the resolution is in your packet. Along with the enrollment, we're also recommending the $4,000 per year of service pension benefit. I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have Callie Trimble, the fire chief, and Luke Swartz, the president of the Carver Fire Relief Association, here to answer any questions as well.
I do.
Questions? Go ahead.
Brian, can you go back to the Peer City study for the retirement benefits? So when I'm looking at this, is it right to say that a lot of time the pension level is tied to your population level? Because if we look on here, Carver's the second to the lowest population on we have it on here to compare ourselves to, and then we're also looks like the second lowest population, second lowest pension level. So would you say that generally those things are tied to each other?
Yeah, I would say that with pension, pay, et cetera. I think that's a fair statement.
Okay, so when we're looking at the other slide then where we're moving it up to $4,000 for the pension benefit, that actually then puts us up much higher than most cities at our level of population would be. Is that tying those two slides together correctly?
Sure.
Actually, one of the representatives from PARA actually said that uniquely, she said that each fire department tells its own story because your benefit level, and it kind of reflects the ages of the fire department members. So your liabilities, they're all based on what are the ages of the members in your department. So if we go back to the slide where it showed that $4,000 and what we're going to, so the liabilities are based on what age group do we think is going to retire at what time, right? And so that $4,000 could change if we had a much older population in our fire department. So it's not really population based, it's what does the story tell you about each of those fire departments? And so she said it's not based on population, it's not based on, where you are in the metro, the story is different for each fire department, and what are your assets, what are your liabilities, and what are the ages of your fire department?
Sure, thank you. And I don't have a problem with the 4,000. We talked about this during a work session. That's not where I'm going with this. But when I look at this, then if we were to redo this, the peer cities, then that actually puts us in a much better light, because right now we're at the bottom. So it's more attractive. Obviously, more money's more attractive, right? But I think that when you're looking at it this way, so that's what I was trying to come up with, was it, although it's not technically tied to population, when we're looking at these lower population numbers, and then we have lower, that's not out of realm if we were to look at any cities across the state that were comparable to our size. I'm assuming it would probably look fairly similar. I'll make an assumption.
I don't think it's a hard and fast rule, because
You're right.
Waconia's got 13,000 people, and they're not the top.
Right. Okay. I was just trying to draw those lines, so I'm happy with the 4,000, and that's all I have for comments.
Any other questions, comments?
No, I mean, we reviewed this in our work session. It really seemed like a no-brainer, and now we're saying, it's a zero cost, essentially, additional cost today to increase the benefit and reduce the level of effort of all the financial reporting and all of that stuff. But we're able to provide a better benefit. Yes, you're nodding vigorously. Yeah, that's exactly what we heard in our work
Brian,
session.
happy?
So, yeah, seems like a no-brainer.
And I think, as was mentioned in the presentation, we had a meeting with the Fire Relief Association a week ago. The Relief Association has been through some stuff to get here. There were some hiccups, probably to put it mildly, with the previous fund managers, lots of transition, a little bit of legal threat for some of the stuff that they were doing wrong that could have gotten us in a lot of hot water. I think at that meeting last week that we had, Luke and the rest of the board did a really good, and Brent did a really good job of saying, while it is enticing to be looking at going from roughly $2,500 to $4,000, what we're really, and the Fire Relief Association, what they're really looking at is this transition between kind of controlling the retirement funds on their own and going to para, where we take more of an active role in this. And it was perhaps one of the longer fire relief meetings that I had been to, but it was all really positive and good, and lots of feedback, and everybody had the space to answer their questions and get them answered. And I truly believe that I got the impression that everybody at that meeting is very much in favor of this. So.
We even got to a point where I kind of started going around the room, making people tell us their opinions and feelings, because we have some people that have been on for 20 plus years that we'd like to hear from, and we did hear from, and we're all in support. But the other thing to just speak
Do you want to come up? We've got tens and tens of people watching at home tonight, so.
The other thing just to speak to is what Brent was referring to, the contribution from the state aid. Since the report was even done, we've had a positive uptick in the market as well. So beyond the contribution, the positive uptick in the market, it really should kind of solidify that no need for additional benefits to be paid by the city. So
We would have been able to cover that $500.
it's real tough.
Yeah, could have covered that.
But I appreciate you pointing that out. So, does anyone else have any other questions?
Is Brian and the whole staff happy that they will not have to be doing much of the financial planning now?
The whole board
I
staff.
think the biggest thing for the board is, like Courtney was saying, in what was it, February, March, when Brian got called by the auditor and said, "Why did you do this?" When we asked and asked and asked our financial advisor, "Is this okay? Is this okay?" that's what we're happy about. We're happy about the relief and that stress is no longer going to be there because this is state run. This is state regulated. They're going to know what you can and can't do. And it was something as simple as just moving funds from one to the other.
None of you folks look good in
Got it.
orange.
So, yes, we are very excited to be able to take that burden off and the time and effort that Brian has put into that audit.
So the stress level will be down on the fire department. Great. I'm happy to hear that.
Right.
I'll make a motion.
Great.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 156-22, enrolling in the statewide volunteer firefighter plan through the Public Employee Retirement Association.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilmember Sayer, and I will make the second for that. Second by Mayor Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Great. So we will be able to get this done by the end of the year and meet every threshold that we need to. Great. All right. All right, communications, monthly reports. Any questions on any of the monthly reports?
I just had a comment on the Southwest Prime update. So the top chart that you have there is labeled passengers, but I believe it's the dollars. I don't think we had 2,590 passengers in
Really?
October. I think it's
Page
divided by 10. Good question. There's not page numbers on this.
There should be on the upper left-hand corner as you're scrolling through.
Nope. I don't know. I don't see it.
It's not.
No, there's no page numbers.
Oh,
Okay, what?
So mine
I'm
shows
just
8
be-
of 19.
8 of 19.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have the page number, but I think it's the dollars, not the passengers, just from a labeling perspective. It matches the chart that is clearly labeled dollars spent. So just,
Can you point that out again? Because we were looking for the page. I'm sorry.
okay, so the top chart that says passengers under Southwest Prime update
Okay.
is the number of dollars we're spending per month, not the number of passengers. I don't think we had half the population ride Southwest Prime in October.
I'll fix that.
Yep. Just to kind of, it is, I mean, it's growing significantly. Your chart is beautifully portraying that even year over year and throughout the year it's growing. I'm glad we have budgeted $20,000 for 2023. That's probably not going to be enough.
Any other
Anyway, that was my
questions?
only comment.
Okay, good catch. All right. Council member updates. Joe,
I don't have anything.
Lori,
I don't have anything.
Christie.
I do. I do. If I can get there really quick.
Do you want a
Maybe
second?
Glenn would like to go.
Go ahead, Glenn.
I had a planning commission had a meeting, and they are going over the ordinances and doing a complete overhaul of zoning. It was fun.
That,
It's going to be broken down into 4 different sections, and Aaron did a remarkable job keeping it entertaining. And with the commission that was there, they were very into it, and it's going to be an easier read for everybody to go through the zoning when this process is completed. It will take time. It'll be a long and arduous journey, but they'll get it. So that was planning commission meeting. Tonight we had a fire board meeting, and everybody in township's happy. Went over budgets and everything, so it's all good.
All right. Christie?
now you're ready? Okay. So this weekend, the Carver on the Minnesota on Saturday is doing the tree lighting at Gazebo Park. Couldn't find it really quickly. I believe it's from 5 to 6. Yeah, thank you. And then the Lions Club is having their Carver Village Christmas on Saturday, December 3rd as well. And that's going to be here at City Hall, 1 to 3. Our fire department will be here helping out. So if you are so inclined, please come down and visit that day.
Santa will be here too, right?
Santa will be arriving here by fire truck. And then I believe I just got an email that our HPC meeting for this month is canceled. That's all I have.
All right, let's see, from my list, thanks to all the election judges, those folks put in pretty long days on election day, and that was 2 weeks ago. Let's see, participated with Joy and Glenn in the Veterans Day celebration at Chaska Middle School West. This was the first time in 3 years that everything was kind of back to what the normal celebration is, with the flag raising outside on what is traditionally and always the very, very first cold day of the year.
And
Which
was it?
November 11th,
Yeah.
absolutely
Brutal.
was.
It was chilly.
Pretty cold.
Great.
And then there are middle school kids that are out there in shorts and a t-shirt. But then they have us in, and there's a really nice program in their gym with the band and the orchestra and all kinds of speakers. So very, very cool. Lions Brunch was last Sunday, the 13th. I had a Carver Fire Relief Board meeting. The chamber had the mayor's luncheon last Wednesday, which was really nice. All of the kind of southeastern Carver County mayors, Chaska, Chan, Carver, and Victoria all participate in that. Let's see, on Friday morning there was a SWCTC, the Southwest Community Transportation Coalition.
Ooh, that sounds right.
There's an acronym.
Sounds really good.
Well, at least it sounds believable. That was last Friday morning in Waconia. But the takeaway for that, that's a very, as the name implies, a transportation-focused group. But there was talk about kind of because of the makeup of the legislature as we go into the new session, that there's very likely going to be a bonding bill this year, which is an off year, in addition to the budget bill. So that just made me think that I should write a few more emails in December or so to try to advocate on behalf of the levy project. And then also last Friday, we had a Carver Business Alliance meeting. It's always a good group. It was a little smaller last Friday, but one of the key takeaways was that it sounds like the folks from the Getaway Motor Cafe are feeling pretty confident for a January opening. Ooh. So they do a really great job on social media, so if you're not following them, follow them. I think that they'll announce it when they're ready to finally open. So that is it from me. That I would entertain a motion. Nothing from you? Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion to adjourn?
A motion by Councilmember Henry,
A second.
and a second by Councilmember McKnight. Any further, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Good evening, everyone.